Every year, 60 new players join the NBA through the NBA draft, with many of them providing a fresh amount of players to the association. Although some drafts are better than others, they each hold talent. Today, we're going to be grading every lottery pick 1 to 14 in the 2019 NBA draft. They've been in the NBA for about 2 years, and yes, it's been 1.5 seasons, but with the whole virus stuff, they had basically the longest season ever. But I'm going to be grading these picks for how they performed already, their potential, and taking into account where they were drafted. Now, before we get started, it would be greatly appreciated to subscribe to the channel. Here on the Mix channel, we make constant NBA content that you're surely going to enjoy, so make sure to subscribe to the channel for that. Also, leave a like because it only takes 1 second and makes a really big difference. And if you're new, comment down below, I subscribe, shout out. There, I'll heart your comment, reply to your comment, and shout you out in the next video. Today's shoutouts are Yari714, Get OKC a Title, and Danny. That being said, let's begin. With the first pick in the 2019 NBA draft, the New Orleans Pelicans selected Zion Williamson out of Duke. Zion is one of the most hyped up rookies of all time, and probably a top 3 rookie hyped up in the 2000s. He was a paint beast freak of nature, and was compared to Charles Barkley, being a 6'6" power forward, while also currently being 280 pounds. He bullies people around the rim, and even though his jump shot is not consistent, it is enough of a threat that they can't sag off of him as much as someone like Ben Simmons. However, with his frame comes a lot of injuries, and he played about a total of 23 games in his rookie year. And this production in limited minutes still allowed him to make the all-rookie first team though, underscoring just how good he was in those minutes. This year, he has not had any minute restrictions and has dominated without any injuries. It's kind of crazy how he's averaging like 24 points a game, and it's crazy how under the radar it is in this whole draft class. It's just been so crazy how fast the hype can fall down. It's just that like Zion is no longer the golden boy. 2018 it was Luka, 2019 it was Zion, 2020 it's LaMelo Ball. So it's just going to be really interesting how just Zion continues. I know Zion isn't making as many highlight plays, but he's still been so good in the league in only 60 games, and I think that shows just how good Zion is. So before the grade, I give this grade an A, as although he has all the talent in the world, injuries may derail his career, and that risk is too high to put it as an A+. Then, with the second pick in the draft, the Memphis Grizzlies selected Ja Morant out of Murray State. The Rookie of the Year of this class has been so electrifying, and he's just been so good. His flashiness and athleticism is insane, while also having a reliable jump shot. He can potentially be a prime Derrick Rose, with the league average jump shot to just elevate his game even more. In his rookie season, he averaged 18 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 7.3 assists, and the Grizzlies saved their whole franchise by drafting Ja Morant 2nd overall. The Grizzlies surprised everyone, led by Ja Morant, to be the 8th seed for most of the season, but becoming the 9th seed from the play-in tournament and the bubble. You don't just find people with this freakish athleticism and combination of skill and style at a daily basis. If he improves his jump shot, the ceiling is the sky, and we have no idea how good Ja Morant can be because just that ceiling is so high. In his second season, he's definitely took big strides. He had the most points for a sophomore in their debut, dropping over 40 points, and that just showed Ja Morant is still so electrifying, and it's just going to be really interesting how this goes. I think Ja has so much potential. Now, I am a bit scared of injuries because he like does very athleticism stuff, and like if he lands on 1 foot a lot, and that's kind of scary in just injuries occurring in his future, but I'm praying for the best that nothing happens. Now for the grade, I gotta give this one an A+. It's the Rookie of the Year. He's the perfect leader and is just the franchise player of this Grizzlies team, and he no doubt deserves an A+. Now, with the third pick in the 2019 NBA draft, the New York Knicks selected RJ Barrett out of Duke. RJ was very hyped and was the top high school prospect in high school, of course. They then selected, like I said, RJ third overall by the Knicks. And yes, RJ is a big drop-off from John Morant and Zion Williamson, but he's still a really promising player. He's not the best rookie, mainly because the Knicks team wasn't good. They had bad spacing, and with RJ, he excels as a slasher. And yes, he needs to improve his three-point shot, but it has showed a lot of promise. In the second season, he took a big leap. And the Knicks are a lot better with Julius Randle. Them trading for Derrick Rose now. And they're actually contending for a playoff spot. That's kind of crazy because the Knicks in playoffs, they don't go together a lot. But RJ, he's looking like a cornerstone of this franchise. And is no doubt going to be a building block for this Knicks. I give this grade a B because he still hasn't shown too much. But this is definitely a solid grade. With the fourth pick in the NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks selected DeAndre Hunter out of Virginia. Hunter was a safe 3-and-D prospect, but analysis showed that he probably won't be a star in the NBA. He was decent in his first year, but in his second season, he broke out. And with the Hawks making changes, young players like Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter had to make steps to get more minutes. This season, he's averaging 17.5 points and 7 rebounds on 51% shooting, 36% from 3, and 87% from line. He's been the Hawks' second leading scorer, and he's just been so much better. Hunter has just done that and just stepped up to show that he's going to be a really important 3-and-D, potentially star in the NBA. Like I said, he is the second leading scorer on the Hawks, on a loaded Hawks team, while also being an elite defender. Because of this, I give this pick an A-, being a very good pickup, especially just fitting this Hawks team alongside Trae Young as a 3-and-D star. With the fifth pick in the draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers selected Darius Garland. Everyone was mystified for why the Cavs took 2 short-scoring, bad defenders, point guards in back-to-back drafts, being Colin Sexton, and Darius Garland. But the Cavs have proven that this has been really good. While Sexton has taken a more scoring role as a shooting guard, Garland is the playmaker while still being able to score. He's averaging about 15 points a game on 5 assists on pretty good efficiency. The Cavs have been very good this season, and alongside Jarrett Allen, Isaac Okoro, Darius Garland, and Colin Sexton, this is a very good future for the Cavs for the post-LeBron era. Because of this, I give the Darius Garland pick a B+, being a pretty good pick, but still definitely gonna be not an A+ range. With the sixth pick in the draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves selected Jarrett Culver. The Timberwolves traded up for Culver to the Suns, where they traded Dario Saric in the 11th pick to trade up for Jarrett Culver. And people thought that was an under-the-radar move. Culver was the jack-of-all-trades player in this draft, being able to do a bit of everything, but not excelling at one specific thing. In his first season, he was just flat out really bad. He showed athleticism flashes and being able to shoot a little bit, but he only averaged 8 points on terrible efficiency. I think he shot like 50% from the free throw line, and that's just really bad. That's worse than Shaq. People thought that this year would be a breakout year, with now being accustomed to the league, but there's still no progression in Culver. He definitely already needs a new situation to break out for someone like Muhammad Bamba, and because of this grade gets a very bad D. Now with the 7th pick in the draft, the Chicago Bulls selected Kobe White. Coming to the draft, White was known for scoring and passing, and in the draft was known for saying "what" when Cam Johnson was selected 8th overall.
On the screen right there. Wow, bro. That's crazy. That's so love, bro.
He was took by the Bulls with an enticing fit with shooting guard Zach LaVine, also being a score first guy. But they both score, just They just both are score first point guards / shooting guards and being average playmakers while also being bad defenders. So they kind of didn't fit together too well. Now, Coby White had a lot of spurts in domination. He had 3 straight 30-point games before the season shut down, and he was very streaky, but when he was good, he looked like a star in the making. This year took a minor leap, with Billy Donovan and the Bulls wanting him to be more of a facilitator, but he's just really bad at it. He's the score-first guy and has struggled recently with this new role. Now, it's just going to be really interesting. Will they trade him or will they trade Zach LaVine? Because I don't really think those two fit together because they're just so similar together and they just aren't good enough to make it work because they're so young. But I still think it was a very good pick because Coby White has still been really good, so I give it a B. 8th pick in the draft, New Orleans Pelicans drafted Jackson Hayes. Pelicans traded the 4th pick in the Anthony Davis trade, who became DeAndre Hunter, for picks 8 and 17, Jackson Hayes and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Hayes was recognized as the top center in a pretty weak center draft. He has freakish athleticism to catch lobs and block shots. In his career, he showed his potential, blocking a lot of shots, but he's still very raw, resulting in very little minutes. Derek Favors and Steven Adams in 2019 and 2020 were starting over Hayes. Hayes still not playing much. It's just going to be really interesting how the Pelicans' future will be. Will they keep him when Adam expires and hopefully that he can develop more? Or will they trade him in a deal while he still has in value? He still hasn't shown much, so I give this pick a C. Then, with the 9th pick in the NBA draft, the Washington Wizards selected Rui Hachimora. Hachimora was the first Japanese player in the NBA, and just the Wizards were in no man's land. He showed promise on both ends, overpowering people, not like Zion, but still being very strong, and while also him being good on the glass, with him having improved jump shot. On the Wizards, he still has a very unsure role with other solid forwards in Denny Avdija, Davis Bertans, and Troy Brown Jr. all deserving minutes, so he hasn't got like a specific role, but he's still been a pretty good pickup, so I still think that I give this a B-, a solid pick for the Washington Wizards. Then with the 10th pick in the NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks selected Cam Reddish out of Duke. Cam Reddish was elite in college, and alongside RJ and Zion, was pretty inconsistent, but many people thought that his high school days showed his real potential, and because he was on a really stacked Duke team, he really couldn't show how he was actually going to be. But because of his bad play, his stock kind of fell. This 10th pick was actually originally the Mavericks pick, traded for Luka Doncic in the Trae Young deal. So it was basically Trae Young and Cam Reddish for Luka Doncic. Of course, the Mavericks won the trade, but the Hawks aren't too bad in that trade, especially if Cam Reddish becomes pretty good. He has been pretty hot and cold, starting off slow in the beginning on awful percentages, but getting better as the season went on. Though it might be the Josh Jackson effect, where in the end of the season, they just play meaningless games because they're a really bad team, and they're also facing teams that are really bad, who are also tanking for a good pick, and just resting their players, and that's why Cam Reddish might have been good. It's still very uncertain just if this was real, but this, in his next sophomore season, he really hasn't showed much development, with Hunter being taken a big leap. He still showed promise as a slasher, shooter, and defender, so I still give it a solid B. Then with the 11th pick in the NBA draft, the Phoenix Suns selected Cam Johnson. The Suns were surprised to everyone, trading the 6th pick, first like I said, Dario Saric and Cam Johnson. Already in the draft, he was 23 years old, and the Suns looked like a rebuilding team, while Johnson seemed like an NBA-ready player with great shooting and slashing. He didn't play much at first, but gradually integrated in the offense, and just the system overall. In the bubble, Johnson was really good as a shooter, being a big part of the 8-0 run for the Phoenix Suns. This year, he has been getting good minutes as sometimes a starter, sometimes a sixth man when Jay Crowder and Mikal Bridges are out of the rotation. He's been a solid contributor, so I give it a B-. Then with the 12th pick in the NBA draft, the Charlotte Hornets selected P.J. Washington. P.J. Washington is an athletic stretch big and looks like a pretty average role player on the Charlotte Hornets. Everyone thought that the Hornets would make a mistake, but dropped 6 threes in opening night, and that just made history of a rookie debut. He shot about league average from downtown, and this year, yes, he missed a couple games, but he has just fits in the modern NBA and just as potentially a small ball 5. So I think it's PJ Washington. Yes, he might not be a star. I think he'll be an all-star role player, which I think is pretty good value, especially when you have potentially a star in LaMelo Ball, and just role players are very essential in a good team. So I give it, like the couple of other ones, a solid B. Then with the 13th pick in the NBA draft, the Miami Heat got a steal, drafting Tyler Herro 13th overall. Many people didn't like Tyler Herro, betraying his hometown to go to Virginia to college. But this kid had confidence and talent. He lit up the summer league and instantly became a fan favorite, being integrated in the all-rookie second team. However, in the playoffs, he erupted, displaying how as a shooter and finisher, he was really good, especially in the big stage. In the conference finals, he dropped 37 against the Celtics and was a major part of the Heat's finals run. But he kind of became a bit overrated. Fans were not willing to trade just a young Tyler Herro, and yes, he has talent, for NBA superstar James Harden. And I feel like the Heat are kind of going to regret that, though they are going for Bradley Beal right now. His stats are up a little bit this year, but his efficiency is quite down, and while the Heat are struggling. Now, I thought in the playoffs he was a bit overreacted because in the playoffs, yes, he put up some pretty good stats, and he showed that as a 20-year-old, this dude has so much potential. But I think that people were thinking that he was going to be like the next Stephen Curry, and I don't really think Tyler can do that. That's not really fair to him. But Tyler Herro, he's still a steal, especially in the 13th pick, so he gets an A+. And finally, with the last pick of the lottery, the Boston Celtics, originally from the Kings pick, drafted Romeo Langford. Langford was a good, solid 3-and-D player in college, but in the NBA, hasn't had much time to play much, along with him being constantly hurt. He registers under 10 minutes per game, and with solid players like Brandon Clark, Matisse Thybulle, and other people on the board, while also not playing, I have to give this pick an F. So yeah, that's going to be the video of ranking every lottery pick in the 2019 NBA draft. This is one of my bigger projects, just getting all these highlights, writing the whole script, and I really appreciate you subscribe to the channel, like the videos if you like the videos, make sure to hit the bell so you never miss an upload, and I'll see you on next time.